Hello, this is Mr. Huff, and let's talk about this wall. One of the things I did is I looked at the number that most people picked for their dimensions, and the mode of that was 16 feet. So that we have more people that chose the number 16 than anything else. So we're going to do this for a 16-foot wall. So what we would have is our dimension on one side, 16 feet. We also know that the wall is 8 feet tall. So we have 8 feet from top to bottom. What we need to do is, another thing we need to remember is that we said it was going to be 24 inches on center. So on OC, you'll see that in your drawing. This is something you typed into your drawing when you were putting it together. What that means is the space from one board to the next is 24 inches. Okay, from center to center, bam, bam, that would be 24 inches. Now the drawing we're looking at here is actually a 16-inch on center, so that's one of the changes we're going to make. That's why we need this grid, so that we can go and look and count how many we need. Another thing that we want to think about is we have this window structure here, and on my design, I only put one window. We're going to assume that, let me write the word window here. We're going to assume that the window, in our case, is going to fit in here between these two studs. It's not actually going to be like that, but it's going to be close. So we're just going to use that. So what you have to think about is the framing around the window. We'll talk about that more in just a moment. So let's go over here and count the number of uprights we would need for a 16-foot wall. So we're going to draw a grid. That is okay, let's say this. Let's agree that this little box is 2 feet by 2 feet. So that means we're going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. And it's 8 feet tall. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so here is our wall. Let's zoom in on that. And now we're going to count the number of studs. So the studs are going to be 92 and 5/8 inches tall, because we have to take away the top plates. There's 2 of those, and the sole plate at the bottom right here. So when you take those 2 thicknesses away, you're left with 92 inches and 5/8 of an inch. Okay, so let's count the studs. So when you count those across, you're going to have 9. So you come over here, and we're going to have quantity. We have 9 studs that are 2x4s. So these studs are 92 and 5/8 inches, okay? And we need 9 of those. So the next thing we're going to look at is the sole plate. And we're going to use 2x4s to make the sole plate that are 8 feet long. So that means right here on this wall, we would have 1 2x4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's 8 feet long, and another one that's 8 feet long. So you need 2 2x4s for the sole plate of this wall. And then you have 2 top plates. The top plate up here is made of 2 courses of boards. It's twice as thick. The reason that it's twice as thick is it also has to hold up the roof. That's why we double up at the top. On the bottom, it's resting on top of concrete, so you don't need to worry about that. So we would have 1 2x4 here, another one here, a third one here, and a fourth one here for this design. So we would have 4 for the top plate, 2 by 4 by 8. Okay? So that is our wall, all the main studs and plates that we need. Now let's talk about this top plate. So I'm gonna switch to a different color. Let's do green. Okay. So we have 1 window in this wall, so we're gonna have a header, and a header is a 2x6, and it's doubled up. So we would need to buy an 8-foot board. So for our headers, we're gonna buy 1 2x6 by 8, and we're gonna have 4 feet left when we're done remaining after we cut that. And this is for the header. Then we have, these are partial studs. We're gonna have a jack stud here, a jack stud here. We're going to have a sill here and a cripple stud here. Okay? So to make all of that, we would probably have one for this, and then 1 2 before to make this part. So we're looking at 3. So we're going to go down here and count partials. So if we look at this overall, we used this part as a model for what we were counting up. And over here is where we showed our work to count up how many of each thing we needed in this little area here. Make sure that your work is easy for me to follow. So this would be just one wall. Let's say this is the east wall. You would also need to do this for the west wall, which is going to be pretty much the same until you get to about right there. And then if you have the same windows, then you're just going to double this. If you don't have windows on the other side, you don't have to worry about the headers and the partials. So, and then the door we're going to use is follow the dimensions given to you in the document. That's enough for now. That will get you through calculating walls.